on Clyde Edwards-Helaire and PTSD. St. Joseph, Missouri, from time to time during the 4 seasons with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, as recently early in training camp, running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire has missed practice because of an illness call, Chiefs call an illness of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. His abuse and his post-traumatic stress disorder, and talked about that Thursday with his experience. Sometimes I also admit to the hospital I can't stop throwing up. And I just don't know anything pretty much to stop it. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the Chiefs' first-round draft pick in 2020. The two LSU players were trying to sell an electronic item when one of them, a fantasy football player, short 18-year-old man trying to rob a Boston police. The police did not identify players, but Associated reported that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was one of them. I would say that was probably where the majority of my PTSD came from. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is 25. It would not necessarily say everything is stemmed from it, but I have a best friend who passed away at that young age due to gun violence and just not being in the right place at the right time. And just knowing I have people that are close to me or around who could be in the same spot that I am. Clyde Edwards-Helaire revealed my first couple of years of trying to block everything. It's felt like, that at some point I'll get over it, he said, and you realize that it just doesn't happen. You get older and you realize, hey, no matter what age you are, no matter who the person you are, no matter what the situation is, everyone needs help at some point. It takes courage to talk about that. Having PTSD and dealing with it once people kind of bring it up. It's not something that I'd always want to talk about. I never really know how to talk about it with anybody. Are we at my mind, or it's just something that I can't really help pinpoint or know exactly what's going on to happen. Vomiting syndrome. And he's had it for years. It's where he throw up a lot and can't stop throwing up. I have experienced this myself. My first couple of years trying to block it out and everything that happened. At some point, I couldn't get over it. My experience with PTSD is this priest asking me questions like, where did I ejaculate, or do you like boys, or the time of being in high school. If you do, that's okay. Trying to prep me up. Those were questions he was supposed to ask. He also had civil charges for sexual conduct against him. I don't remember it for a long time after I did. I also thought that I wasn't telling the truth because it was just something, I don't know. I'm not telling the truth, but obviously I did, as he had civil charges against him. That led to a lot of problems. I've also had PTSD from losing friends and losing lots of friends. My one friend that in particular was Evan. It was a hard time for me to lose him. And I've also had threatening and events that hurt me in high school. That's on PTSD.
Well, the Chiefs have been hit with the injury bug lately in training camp. And while it's not an injury for running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, it's something more. 13 Sports Director Vince Levergine has more from St. Joe.
We're just 9 days away from the first preseason game for the Chiefs as they head to Jacksonville. It's kind of hard to believe we're already at that point, but we're still here at training camp as they gear up for that first preseason game. The big news today, though, was Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The team labeled him having an illness, being out of practice the last 2 days. But he spoke with the media to talk about what he's dealing with off the field.
I have PTSD and sickly vomiting syndrome. So it's something that's kind of neurologically that they just kind of help me with and walk through it. And I mean, sometimes I'm admitted into the hospital, something like can't stop throwing up, and it's just I can't nothing pretty much to stop it. It's real bad dehydration, dropping real fast, but it's really just mentally just not being there.
December 22nd, 2018, in a self-defense situation with a friend, was one big factor causing Helaire's PTSD. He said it's okay to seek help.
You get older and you realize, hey, no matter the age, no matter the person, no matter the situation, everyone needs help at some point. And it's just being able to kind of step up and know, no, this is the help I need, or this is what I need to ask for. I'll say now I'm probably the most level-headed and clear that I've probably been within the last five or 6 years.
Helaire said his family and the Chiefs support system has helped tremendously. And here's a message from him if someone is going through PTSD.
Don't make it a burden on a person that's dealing with PTSD. Take little steps, walk them through certain things. Don't try to be overwhelming. And then try to not bring up the trauma as much as possible.
The Chiefs will practice tomorrow. They will have...
Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam on for Sam Sports Report. The Royals will play the Boston Red Sox. It's the second night in a row. The Royals, whose bullpen gave up 7 runs, 4 of them were charged to Angel Zerpa. Brady Singer at the other 2 charge, and then the Royals will give up 1 more. Imagine if the Royals bullpen was just average and how good they'd be. Tonight, the Royals are a pitcher, Seth Lugo, on the mound. The best starter for the Royals this year, and Brian Balo will go for the Red Sox. Game time 7:10. The Royals lead the Red Sox by 1.5 game right now in the wild card. The Cardinals lose to the Mets 5-0 and only 1 over 500. They've lost 4 out of the last 5 the Cardinals have. Cardinals and Rays are somewhat in the wild card spot. Tonight, they'll go at Busch Stadium. Cardinals will have Sonny, and Jeffrey Springs will go for the Rays. Game time 6:45. The Twins will play the Cubs. The Cubs lost last night to the Twins 3-0. Today, the Twins will have Pablo Lopez on the mound. He's had a rough year. He needs to get better. All-star Shohei.
I think that if the 49ers can get an Amari Cooper and draft capital for 2025, they can reasonably say, hey, we tried to make it work with Brandon Aiyuk. He was being unreasonable with his demands. We're not going to pay a wide receiver that much money in an era where wide receivers are coming out at a rate unbeknownst to the NFL before this point. I mean, the level of talent coming out of college football at the wide receiver position is immense. The 49ers might be looking at Ricky Pearsall, who has been the truth in camp, and say, hey, he could be the next Brandon Aiyuk. There's not that big of a difference. And by the way, if he's not that guy this year, because he's a rookie, and why would you expect that to be the case? You know who could be Brandon Aiyuk for us this year? Amari Cooper, who was basically Brandon Aiyuk last year in a very similar system, and in fact, might have been a little bit better.
Yeah, Amari Cooper, 72 receptions last year for 1,250 yards, 5 touchdowns with the Browns. He's got 7,000-yard seasons in 9 years in his career.
He's a steady Eddie.
He's 30.
He's 30.
Brandon Aiyuk is 26.
That's right.
So you're getting a more affordable contract in Cooper. You're allowing Brandon Aiyuk to get paid by the Browns, but I think you'd be getting draft capital back for taking on the older player. And so, yes, this could finally be a potential best of all worlds solution. I agree with you. Ricky Pearsall factors into this. I also think in a weird way, Chris Conley factors into this as well. In that, just there's maybe a little bit more depth. If you're taking somebody back, though, a plug and play receiver back, that I do feel like is a game changer. For whatever reason, though, the Niners they're pretty hard set on not moving up closer to Ayuk's preferred number.